It is that time of year again to talk about the 20 greatest 3-year-olds in the United States running in the greatest 2 minutes in sports. It is time to talk about the 2022 Kentucky Derby. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about some racehorses. So basically how this is going to go is that I'm going to try and cover each of the 20 Kentucky Derby horses in a very quick and concise manner. If you want more detailed coverings of these Kentucky Derby horses, you can check out the Derby Profile series that I did, which covers these horses individually, but this is one big video that covers all the Derby horses in just one go. And at the very end, I'll reveal my personal picks for the Kentucky Derby, and, well, there you go. So let's not waste too much more time, and let's cover the first horse, Mo Donegal. And out of the gate, no pun intended, Mo Donegal doesn't really have much to worry about when it comes to his post position. Yes, being number 1 ain't exactly the best thing in the world, but for a closer like Mo Donegal, this ain't as much of a concern because, well, breaking out of the gate well isn't nearly as important when your best move is late. At the current moment, he rests at 10-1, and honestly, that's really good odds considering that he did defeat the Derby favorite Zandon as a 2-year-old. And I think that makes Mo Donegal a surprisingly valuable pick, because if you want to choose a horse like Zandon, but want to make some actual legitimate money, then go with Mo Donegal, because he clearly is the same caliber of horse as Zandon, but yet their starting odds are completely different for some reason. I don't know the reason, I kind of expected his odds to be lower, but you know what? From a betting standpoint, I don't think many people are going to be complaining. In post number 2, we got Happy Jack, who honestly I can confidently say is probably the worst horse in this field. I mean, running Insanity to stakes races that barely have 6 horses in them, and just being destroyed by multiple lengths in all of them, not exactly a good look. He's only really in here because Doug O'Neill needed a Kentucky Derby horse in the absence of Slowdown Andy, who I kinda wish wasn't injured because I think he could have been a possible long shot pick. But that's horse racing for ya, and this is all we got for Doug O'Neill. Next we got number 3, who is the second choice in the betting at the current moment, and for a good reason, Epicenter. Mainly down to the fact that Epicenter has beaten almost all the big Kentucky Derby horses in this field, with the exception of the California horses. He's beaten Smile Happy, he's beaten Zozos, and most importantly of all, he's beaten the Kentucky Derby favorite Zandon. As well as that, he's got good front-running early speed, which means that he'll be close to the leaders, which statistically is the best place to be in a Kentucky Derby, with almost every single Kentucky Derby in the last 10 years being won by horses that were no further away from the lead than third. And his versatility means that he can handle Kentucky Derby Murphy's Law quite nicely. He has everything you would want from a Kentucky Derby horse. And spoiler alert, as original as it sounds, he's definitely going to be my top pick for this year's Kentucky Derby, for all the reasons that I previously mentioned. I don't want to sound like a broken record, so let's go on to number 4, Summer is Tomorrow. And originally, Summer is Tomorrow was going to be one of my long shot picks for this Kentucky Derby, and I know that sounds a little silly considering he's never raced on American soil before, but considering that this Kentucky Derby doesn't have nearly as much front-running speed as previous Kentucky Derbies, his front-running style was absolutely beneficial and meant that he could play to his strengths without much challenge with the exception of classic Causeway. But unfortunately, considering that this Kentucky Derby will likely be run on a sloppy track and Dubai never rains, I think this might just be too much for him to handle, and for that, I will personally not be choosing him. Now, there might be a super small chance that we might be completely wrong about him, because not running on a certain thing means that either he could be really bad at it, or somehow really good at it. I mean, look at Animal Kingdom in 2011, but that's outlandish. That's just me playing hypothetical and devil's advocate. He ain't exactly a surefire bet, just go with him if you're feeling dangerous. Next we got lucky number 5, which is statistically the best Kentucky Derby starting gate, and in it is Smile Happy, who is certainly no slouch. While he's been winless in 2 starts this year as a 3-year-old, that doesn't mean that they were bad races. He was second behind both of the Derby favorites, Epicenter and Zandon. So it wasn't exactly like he was running against ordinary horses. And this kind of Derby prep style definitely runs in Smile Happy's family. His grandsire was Super Saver, who just like Smile Happy, won the Kentucky Jockey Club as a 2-year-old and then was winless as a 3-year-old en route to winning the Kentucky Derby. So right now, Smile Happy is in perfect position to possibly repeat the efforts of his grandsire. And even if he doesn't win, at odds of 20-1, he has some pretty good money on him, so second or third, you're still making some money. There's a lot of reasons to be smiling about Smile Happy. Then we finally go to the black sheep of this year's Kentucky Derby, the not Baffert horses. First, we got Messier, who is currently taking the Medina Spirit route of winning the Robert B. Lewis and then being second in the Santa Anita Derby. It's been a somewhat winning combination, so it ain't exactly impossible to say that Messier can't win this Kentucky Derby. It's just that I really don't want him to, and it's not for any good logical reason. It's just because I really just don't want a Baffert horse to win this year. I just want someone else to win, gosh darn it. But if I had to come up with some objective reasons on why Messier could lose this Kentucky Derby, it's mainly due to the fact that he kinda has two different types of races that he runs. One where he's an absolute monster and wins by open lengths, and then the other one where he just kinda just gets passed late in the stretch by another horse. He's not exactly a fighter. In both his defeats, he was just simply passed without really much of a tussle. He either destroys, or he just loses. So the question remains, which Messier are we going to get? We'll have to see, and we'll also have to see how mud affects him. The same could be said about number 7, Crown Pride, who has never faced a sloppy track or American soil before. However, unlike Summer is Tomorrow, I'm actually not as concerned about his ability to handle mud as Summer is Tomorrow because of the fact that Master Fencer ran in the 2019 Kentucky Derby, and that race was absolutely drenching with rain. It was absolutely sloppy, and you know what? He still was able to finish 5th. So the ability for Japanese racehorses to handle mud is definitely there. You can't just say, oh, he can't handle mud, it's impossible for a Japanese horse to handle the rain. Because it isn't. It's been done before. The question is, though, is Crown Pride going to be like Master Fencer? That we have yet to find out, because horses are individuals, and we won't truly know how good Crown Pride is in the mud until we see it. But for now, Crown Pride has a great post number, and this year couldn't be looking any better for Japan when it comes to their international endeavors. Maybe this could be another example of that. Next, we got the up-and-coming Charge It, who, just like Crown Pride, has a pretty nice post position. In fact, both post position number 7 and 8 have the exact same win percentage, 8.8%, and Medina Spirit did technically cross the wire first from that position. But now on to Charge It, because he's a completely different animal. A good way to summarize Charge It is that he runs 2 times faster than every other horse in this field, but he also runs in 2 different directions at the same time, as shown in the Florida Derby when he drifted in and out and lost by 3/4 of a length. He could have won if he kept his path straight, but he didn't. So, take that for what you will. Full of talent, but not a lot of experience. And then we got the most experienced horse in this field, Tiz The Bomb, who is, well, there's no real way of dancing around it, a turf horse. All of his big victories have come on turf or synthetic, and when it comes to dirt races, his only victory was a dirt race that was originally scheduled for the turf, so he basically beat nobody, and his 2 stakes attempts have been 7th place finishes. Now there is a slight silver lining. They are going to have him be more forwardly placed than his other dirt attempts, which might have some difference. But personally, I just don't think it's enough to really sway my opinion. He's only here because he can, and honestly, he should go back to turf as soon as possible. And then we got our favorite Zandon, who, I'm not really going to complain about him. He has all the makings of a Kentucky Derby favorite. Great come-from-behind style. The 10th post is one that statistically does very well. In general, he has all the makings of a Kentucky Derby favorite, but he also isn't a league above every other horse in this field. He's just at the top echelon, and honestly, there are plenty of other horses with similar skill ranges to his, such as Donegal, that would go for more money than him. So it's just a matter of either choosing a horse that you'd make more money off of, or you get creative and find some interesting combinations with higher priced horses. And then in complete and utter contrast, we got number 11, Pioneer of Medina, who's one of the longer shots in this field, and he's not exactly one of those where there's lots of great possibilities for upsets. Pioneer of Medina is the kind of horse that just kind of runs at the same pace the whole race. He isn't super fast, he just kind of sticks to his position and doesn't really move from there. Like, even though he was only a nose away from defeating Zandon, he was around that 3rd or 4th position the whole race, and it was just a matter of other horses shifting positions between them. He just doesn't have a lot of great surprise in him. He just stays where he is the whole time, and I just don't think that's exactly the kind of long shot you want. You want one that has some unpredictability and flair. Then we got the other not Baffert horse, Taiba, and I did get at least one thing wrong in my Derby profile on him, which is also the most viewed Derby profile, so that's a little embarrassing. I claimed that no horse had ran in the Kentucky Derby and won off of just 2 career starts beforehand. However, in 1883, Leonatus did just that, winning the Kentucky Derby with only 2 starts beforehand, just like what Taiba is doing right now. So, my apologies there. Interestingly enough, Leonidas won the Derby only a year after Apollo did, meaning in just 2 years we got 2 different Kentucky Derby curses, and now they're both striking back in the form of Taiba, a horse who is trying to beat both the Leonidas and Apollo curses. Personally, I'd rather him not succeed in this endeavor, but that's just me being biased. In general, his lack of experience is going to be his biggest weakness, considering he's only ran in like 7-horse fields. We'll just have to see how he handles 20 horses and a potentially sloppy track. Next, we got number 13, Simplification, and he's quite a nice horse. He has both displayed great early speed as well as stalking tactics in the Fountain of Youth stakes, but he also was able to win up front like in the Mucha Macha Man, so Simplification definitely ain't no one-trick pony. However, there is definitely going to be the slight concern of the fact that he hasn't ran outside of Gulfstream Park in 7 starts, which is definitely something that can affect a horse, since we've seen good horses like Wildcat Red run great at Gulfstream Park and then finish near dead last in the Kentucky Derby. So that'll be a bit of an up-in-the-clouds thing, but if Gunnevera is anything to go off of, Simplification will definitely be a pretty good horse later in his life, and, well, the Kentucky Derby might be a slightly different story though, because Gunnevera finished 7th in that race. We'll see if he does any better for Antonio Fano. In post position number 14, we got Barber Road, who already seemed like a pretty good choice for a use under kind of horse, because in 4 Kentucky Derby preps this year, he's finished no worse than 3rd. In fact, he finished 2nd in 3 of them, so he's been pretty good at Oaklawn Park, and 2 of those were on muddy race courses, with his 2nd in the Smarty Jones and his 3rd in the Rebel Stakes, both taking place in the mud. So the reasons to choose Barber Road as a good use under candidate only seem to be increasing, so I would highly recommend him. And next we got number 15, White Abarrio, who in the similar vein of number 5, Smile Happy, he has quite a lot of Derby luck in his favor. For one, post position number 15 is quite a good one, with it having a 10% win rate. And he also won the most successful Kentucky Derby prep, the Florida Derby, which always seems to have a pretty legitimate Kentucky Derby horse in it, and plenty of Kentucky Derby winners. There's no shortage of horses who have done the Florida and Kentucky Derby doubles. So in terms of racing luck, White Abarrio definitely has quite a lot of it. And at current odds of 10 to 1, you can still make a decent bit of money on White Abarrio just off a win bet alone. Then number 16, we have Cyberknife, who won the Arkansas Derby. Cyberknife's biggest strength as a horse is the fact that he has simply been improving with every single one of his races. Sure, in some early parts of his career it was a little bit bumpy, such as being disqualified at Churchill Downs as a 2-year-old, but with every race he seems to be figuring out the nooks and crannies, with the Arkansas Derby finally being the breakthrough race that he was waiting for. As well as that, one thing to keep in mind right before the Kentucky Derby is the finish of Secret Oath. Secret Oath finished 3rd in the Arkansas Derby behind both Cyberknife and Barber Road, so if Secret Oath amounts to anything in the Kentucky Oaks, that might be something to keep in mind. Because if Secret Oath comes out of the Arkansas Derby and runs great in the Kentucky Oaks, things will only be looking up for Cyberknife and by extension Barber Road. But if there was one Derby horse that has the worst luck of any horse in this field so far, just off of pure statistics, it's definitely Classic Causeway, thanks to being in post position number 17, which currently still remains as the only post position to not harbor a Kentucky Derby winner. And this doesn't seem like number 17's year, with Classic Causeway's most recent start being dead last in the Florida Derby. That's not exactly good. Even with 5 good previous starts, that last in the Florida Derby just kinda dampers everything. Next we got Tawny Port, who's just alright. Before the Lexington Stakes, it was gonna be another question of, can he even run on the dirt? The same with Tiz The Bomb. Luckily, Tawny Port was able to answer that question pretty well, defeating Ethereal Road and Major General in the Lexington Stakes. Although he'll be slightly less rested, he's at least proven that he can handle the dirt. However, I don't think it's enough for him to necessarily win. He's an alright grade 3 caliber horse, but he doesn't really have enough in my opinion to really stand out and be a Derby placer, let alone a winner. Then we got the penultimate horse in this Kentucky Derby, Zozos, who in some ways looks like a better version of Charge It, and in other ways he doesn't. Statistically, in his 3 starts, he's only lost once, and that was in the Louisiana Derby to the Derby co-favorite Epicenter. Certainly not a bad horse to lose to, and before that, he was winning all his races, although one of them was due to late drifting by his opponent. Either way, Zozos is an up-and-coming horse that is improving with every single start. The question is, will he be able to improve enough to run well in the Kentucky Derby? He certainly has enough speed to last 1.25 miles, which is certainly impressive for his son of Munnings. It's just a matter of, is that going to be enough? We'll find out on Derby Day, and we'll also find out how he likes mud. And then last of all, I got my out there pick, Ethereal Road. And he certainly has a lot of things against him, such as running twice in 1 week and losing both races pretty distantly, those being the Bluegrass and the Lexington 6. That doesn't exactly look so great, but I think he has 2 things that are in his favor. For one, his main special weight, where he made up a combined 20 lengths in a matter of 1 1/16 miles. That shows that he could definitely make up similar amounts of ground on Derby Day, and his second in the Rebel Stakes, which proves that he can handle slop better than most Derby horses. And I think that ability to handle slop and his late kick, as shown in his maiden victory, I don't know, there's a slight chance that maybe Dean Wayne Lucas might try to pull a charismatic, or more specifically pointed out by Sylvia Rothov under his Derby profile, a country house. Ethereal Road does fit a lot of the same archetypes as Country House. He has a great late kick, he'll be coming from post position number 20, and he'll be running on a presumably sloppy track. And Country House went on to win the 2019 Kentucky Derby, so I wouldn't say it's as improbable as some people are suggesting that Ethereal Road might pull off a little bit of a shock. And you know what? I'm going to take my chances with him. He is my Derby long shot. And you know what? Let's get into the Derby picks while we're at it. I think my win bet's easily going to be Epicenter. Epicenter certainly has all the makings of a Kentucky Derby winner, but behind him, I'm going to go with Smile Happy because he is surprisingly enough 20-1, despite having the luckiest post position and also having quite a bit of history in his favor, such as being related to Super Saver and already winning a race at Churchill Downs, and then also Ethereal Road to go on there too, because Country House exists, and also, I'm feeling lucky. Well, do ya, punk? So, I hope you guys enjoyed this Kentucky Derby analysis. I know it seemed a little bit hasty, but it's mainly just because I covered all these horses in more detail in their own separate videos, so I kind of just wanted something quicker and conciser. So that's what you got with this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and later this Thursday, I will be releasing another Kentucky Derby video, the Kentucky Derby Winners Alphabet, where I'll be going through each letter of the alphabet and talking about the best Kentucky Derby winner for it. So, hope you guys stay tuned for more Derby content, and have a good one.